What a season of triathlon already.
4 different races, big results, and a lot of fun.
What's next for us, and where are we now?
Where am I now? For the most part, I would not have changed a thing about my first 2 races of the season. Chattanooga, I was able to fully execute my day, which was a huge win since the length of the race usually lends itself for something to go wrong. I've done many 70.3 races and maybe only a few have gone off perfectly. 70.3 Chatty this year, I also PR'd by 6 minutes. In Ohio, I went in with nothing to lose and tried a few new things to see how they'd play on race day. One being a higher concentration of nutrition on the bike. I quickly found out on the bike that my stomach couldn't handle it. I was still able to hammer down and have a great bike, but paid for it on the run. It was still a solid result. This all gives me a focus for the next few months during our lead up to our next race, Ironman 70.3 World Champs in New Zealand. Right now in training, the intensity of swim bike run isn't as high. Our focus for this month is getting back into the gym to build up our strength and core. We've already done a full week of light strength and core so far with some different movements. My legs are already feeling the change in routine, and that gets me excited. Excited for how strong I can become and how much more power I can create in all 3 sports. We are 19 weeks out from Worlds. Plenty of runway to put in the work to have an outcome to be proud of. Triathlon is a huge part of our life. Yes, it can be both physically and mentally demanding, but the big reason we love it so much is that it brings so much joy into our lives. Like we've said before, it's not just about the race, it's the entire journey. Sharing in the pain of hard workouts with teammates, the new places we see as we travel to these events, the people we meet and get to talk triathlon with, and yes, the joy of running down that finisher chute. There are hard times along the way, but it never comes close to outweighing all the joy this sport brings. It's having something to work towards and the good times along the way that keep me motivated for the next 19 weeks. Let's go to work.
Where am I now? I'm feeling really good looking back at 2 races in the books that have exceeded my expectations. I finally cracked the sub-6 mark for the first time since 2021, and I've done it twice in 2 races this year, including the elusive sub-6 at Chattanooga. I was so close in my previous 2 attempts. I also earned my slot to the Ironman 70.3 World Championship at Chattanooga, and without the extra women for tri-slots this year, making it 3 for 3, claiming my slot at that race. A race that years ago, I was told I was crazy to think I could get a slot at because it's too competitive. 3 for 3. Then, just a few weeks ago in Ohio, I came within a few minutes of my 70.3 personal best time. I can't truly express how much that race has meant to me and how much fire it's given me as I look to the future. After nearly 3 seasons of trying to get back to a more competitive level, I finally feel that it's really happening. I decided to take some chances this year, and I'm liking what I'm seeing as a result. I've learned 2 big lessons in the process: patience and trust. As much as I wanted to bounce right back from my back injury in 2022, it was a long road. It took not only recovering from it throughout 2022 and beyond, but then essentially starting back at square one with the fitness and the mental fortitude to put that effort into racing in 2023. It was tough, but I had to realize that sometimes the runway needs to be longer. I needed to be patient in my training and go back to the basics and take my time. Once I leaned into that, I definitely started to take off. If there's any message I can share with anyone else out there in a similar situation, it's take your time and come back on your own terms and your own schedule. Don't rush it because of a race you really want to do, peer pressure, or what you see others doing or saying. The trust has turned into an unintentional mantra for me. The trust is trusting myself, knowing myself, and doing what's best for me when it comes to training and racing. There were years of hearing messages to the contrary, being told that I wasn't the expert, that I couldn't get to the top level, and questioning my love for the sport. But now It's all in my control, and I have 2 really nice race results to show for it, including a top 10. Maybe someone like me shouldn't place that high, but I did. So what's next? It almost feels like a second season. The next race is the 2024 Ironman 70.3 World Championship in Taupo, New Zealand, which isn't until December 14th. That leaves another long runway into the buildup, and I'm buzzing over it. Coming off my performance in Ohio, I have a lot of confidence, but also a lot of hunger to work harder than ever before for this World Championship. We'll be doing some different training during the month of August to build upon our foundation and then put our heads down with a big triathlon block from September to December. I have some very tangible goals that I'm keeping close to the vest. But one big goal I'm going to put out there is that I intend to be in my best physical shape and fitness when I head to the Southern Hemisphere in 4 months.
Where am I now? I'm in the midst of my 5th triathlon season, and it's my 2nd training every day, more or less in some capacity with Tiff and Kate. Maybe it's Stockholm Syndrome, I don't know. 2 years ago, I didn't have anything orange. Now I wear a lot of orange. 2 years ago, I didn't know how to shave my legs. I've shaved my legs like 5 times this year. Getting a little fuzzy down there. It's been a couple weeks since we got back from Ohio. We've all got a little downtime right now. And before we all shift our focus to what is to come in 2024, I think it's important to take a look back at everything we've done up until this point. My 70.3 PR is down to 5:08. It's a 16-minute improvement from where I was last year. And from 2 years ago, I don't know the math, it was 6:30. And now it's 5:08 in the span of 2 years. I don't know either, y'all. If you ask me, the secret to getting faster in this sport isn't getting a faster bike or changing your nutrition plan or getting a new training plan. If you ask me, the secret is finding like-minded athletes that can celebrate with you on your best days and support you on your worst ones. If you go back to December, that was the awesome week where I got laid off and got COVID the week before Christmas. I was in a mood. And training was not front of mind for me then. It was a victory if I got out of bed and put on pants. Once I recovered more or less from COVID, Tiff and Kate, they took a very delicate, balanced approach of being supportive and nagging me. And I give them a lot of credit because they got me back to swimming, biking, and running a lot faster than if I had just been left to my own accord. And I think that's a big reason why I'm sitting here in the middle of the summer talking about 70.3 PRs is because of what they did for me during the winter. I poured everything I had into Ironman 70.3 Des Moines. It was honestly probably my most complete race of my career. There's nothing that I can think of even a couple months later that I would have done differently. So that helps a little bit with the fact that I missed qualifying for Worlds by 2.5 minutes in just one athlete. It still stings a bit, I'm not gonna lie. It's an 11-hour drive from Des Moines back to Nashville. And if I was doing that drive solo, that would have sucked. That would have been a really long, sad drive down the interstate. But thankfully, I wasn't alone. I had Katie in the passenger seat, and she made sure to give me a chance to mourn, but also not let me spiral into a state of sadness and despair over what happened. The day after we got home, she left a really sweet note on my desk right here in front of me, and I promise I'm not gonna cry talking about her this time. But I don't know how it would have felt to have qualified for the second straight year and get to go to Worlds, but I know it pales in comparison to how it feels to know that I have her love and support, and it really means a lot. And I can't imagine how this season would have gone if it wasn't for Katie, Caitlin, and Tiffany. There's one goal left for me in 2024, and that's to shave 8 more minutes off of my 70.3 time so I can say that I finished one of these sub 5 for the first time. I signed up for Ironman 70.3 Florida in mid-December, and Katie and I are going to head down there where I can hopefully get this done. That race is actually the same weekend that Tiff and Kate are going to be halfway around the planet in New Zealand competing in Worlds. So even though I didn't qualify, even though we're not going to be racing at the same race, we're sort of going to be racing at the same time. And knowing that we're all sort of working towards the same goal for the same weekend, I think is really going to help a lot. 8 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but it also feels like a lot. And it feels intimidating to try to think about. But I know I've got a lot of work ahead of me in the next few months, and it feels a little scary, but I know I have the right people surrounding me to help get it done, and I am ready for the challenge. Let's go.